Theatres of Flavour, France. No, wrong way round. Flavours of France Theatre. And this is the last demonstration of this year's show. So it's going to be a good one, so watch carefully and applaud loudly for Chef Michel Lemoine.
Wow, what a fantastic day. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I'm doing it, because it's absolutely fantastic. My name is Michel Lemoine. I'm from Bistro La Barrique in Bath, a small French bistro, and we specialize in petit plat. So where we do this little portion of French food, kind of tapas, and we got, today I'm going to cook some of my favorite food, which is pan-fried fillet of sea bass with red onion and sweet pepper compote with basil and tapenade crouton. These kind of dishes for me represent especially things like peppers, garlic, onions, and basil, the sun, represent the southern France, which I love. It's always very tasty food. And I do believe in simplicity when you make food. As long as you get good quality ingredients, then you will always be a winner. So to start with, we're going to start to do our pepper compote. So we will use some virgin olive oil from Provence, so good quality olive oil. And then we will put a large drizzle of oil. And it's important to warm up the oil, but not to leave it too small, too overcooked. If you heat it up too much, as soon as it starts smoking, you destroy, you burn away the flavor of the food. And what we want to do here is to keep all the flavor of the olive oil. So good quality olive oil. So we're going to use some red onions, some sweet pepper, red and yellow, some garlic, and some tomatoes and basil. So to start with, we have red onions, okay, and our garlic. And those are two important ingredients which I do believe goes well together. So we sweat our onions, the garlic, and that will take a few minutes. I will add at that stage some salt, and that will contribute to get the moisture of the onions out. Okay, and we gently sweat them up. I think one of the questions about cooking is smells. I don't know if you can smell it, but a good way to attract the smell, don't put your nose over it. I was doing my nostrils, and I done that many times when I was young, but you just wave the fumes. And you got this lovely fragrance flavor of onions and garlic. By sweating it in the olive oil, you get all the bitterness out, so you develop sweetness. And cooking garlic in oil, you will never have a bad breath. Okay, so people say, oh, I don't want garlic in my food because I'll have a bad breath. Well, if you cook it gently in olive oil or in oil, then you will never have a bad breath. Huh? So we add our onions, our peppers. Okay, a touch more salt. Again, I pull the moistures out of the peppers. And very often, if peppers are not sweated enough, they tend to get bitter. So again, slowly sweat the peppers with the olive oil, a little bit more olive oil. Okay. And then we develop a nice sweet pepper compote. So we're going to put our lid, and we're going to leave it to sweat for a few minutes. In that time, we're going to do the tapenade. And tapenade, funny enough, it was invented by a Frenchman in the 1880s. He was a French chef from Provence, and he invented tapenade, and he was creating some orders. And in those days, they would do the tapenade, and he would add some tuna fish with hard-boiled eggs. Mix everything together, and they would fill up the white of the eggs. He would fill up the shell, and it was their orders, and that's how tapenade was done. Now, nowadays, we don't do the tuna fish, we just use a mixture of garlic, some good quality anchovies, Capers, again, good quality of capers and good quality of olives. If you can get olive from Provence, which tend to be a bit smaller, it's ideal. But good quality of in produce is that everything will transfer into the final products. Okay, so if you can look at peppers, they're just sweating away and becoming nice and soft. Huh? And the scent is actually fantastic. Okay. Now, tapenade is one of the easiest dish you can do. So you basically put everything together into the robot cook, or should we say the food processor or food mixer. Okay, put everything together. A large drizzle of good quality olive oil. Okay, and now we're going to mix everything together into the puree. So now you can have it as coarse or as fine as you want. Yeah, I don't like it too fine. You know, I like a bit of chunks, but it's got to be blended enough so the flavors get mixed properly together. And the beauty about tapenade, once you cook it, or once you make it, you can store it in a jar, put a bit of olive oil on top and some parchment paper, and you store it in the fridge a month, 2 months, no problem. And then when you make a dish, you can say a pasta dish if you want to have some pasta, and then you can take a tablespoon of that tapenade, put it with the pasta just to flavor it, and you soon change the dish. You know? So that's what we do nicely. Where I'm from in Burgundy, so I came in England in 1981, so in those days, so in the late 70s, my family never used much of olive oil. We tend to use pork fat. Because where I'm from is the pork is the beef era, where the Charolais is, and that's where it's the pork era. And my parents would go to the market and they would buy the fatty bacon and the lean bacon. And with the fatty bacon, they would do a slab of lard, which they would put salt and keep in the fridge. And whenever they wanted some oil to cook with, they would take a cut of that fat, scrap the salt, and run it into a pot. And then they would use it as a fatty agent to cook. It's only at later days that I become more accustomed to olive oil, and now I just love olive oil, and I don't do hot fat anymore because it's not so healthy for you. So, we got our tapenade, okay? And as you can see, it's a nice little puree, huh? Okay? So if you look on the website, then it will tell you the quantities, okay? So tapenade, here we got sweet pepper compote. Now, so what you want to try to aim is to get all those peppers nice and soft. So you get rid of the bitterness, all the sweetness comes out, and that will make the dish really very important. Now we're going to take a little pan, and we're going to cook our fish. So today we use seabass, yesterday we use searing. I like it to use mullet because this is kind of Mediterranean cooking. Mediterranean cooking, mullet is from the south, and the whole combination goes well together. Okay? So, voilà. Alors, the pan, a little drizzle of olive oil. Okay, we're going to leave that to warm up. And then for the seasoning, I'm a very strong believer that when you season your food, you should put the pepper first and then the salt. And the reason for that is when if you put salt on food, you draw all the moistures. So when you're going to put the pepper won't stick to the food. So you put the pepper first, tap it, then you put the salt, and then you cook. I do believe it's very important to be able to, you've got to cook the food with seasoning. If you season the food after it's been cooked, the flavors have not developed, it doesn't taste the same. So always season the food and then you cook it. So, pepper, some salt, And again with salt, for at home, I use Guérande salt. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Guérande salt. It's the fleur de sel. It's a salt from Brittany. Okay? And when they make the salt, in the marais, they let the water to evaporate, and as the water evaporates, you got a little white crust on the top of the little square of water, they let the water evaporate, and the paludier scrape the top of the water, and you got the fleur de sel. And it's a salt which is got very little acidity. And when we season with that good quality salt, it does make the food better. So if you ever come across Guérande salt, fleur de sel, then do try it because it's a big difference. I think in England we got crystal salt, Walden salt, Walden, the Walden salt, that's right, yeah. It's a kind of equivalent, but the French one is better, of course. You must have a bit biased, but that's normal. So the sea bass, okay, so I cut it in little pieces like this, and I put it a little cross, so you will get the skin very crispy. I always put it on the skin side, and it's very important as well to scale the fish, because I think the skin of the fish is very tasty, it's very nice, it gives a lot of flavor to the food. Now we put the sea bass, give a little stir. Okay. Voilà. Alors, we put the sea bass in, and if you noticed, I haven't shaken the pan. When you cook food, like if you cook fish, scallops, steaks, heat up the pan, season your food, and then you put the food in the pan and you don't move it. And what you do, the heat will caramelize the food, your meat, the flesh of the fish. And if you start moving, you lose the heat, and all the water of the ingredients will start to come out. So instead to fry your meat or your fish, you will end up boiling your food. And boiled fish or boiled steaks doesn't taste the same. Put your fish down, leave it to cook, okay, and we leave that for about 3 minutes, okay, and then what we'll do, we will flip it over to finish to cook the top, okay. So, to serve, we're going to have some crouton of bread, a little garlic. So we toasted the bread, and we're going to spread the bread just to give that little kick of the garlic. Okay. Voilà. Alors, as you can see for the fish, now it's time to flip it over. Just like that. And the fish is literally cooked. 2 minutes cooking is very quick. Okay. So we've done the bidon. We've got our croutons and garlic. Now we've got our tapenade. Very often when you go down the south of France, when you go to the cafe, you have places, they serve bowls of tapenade with little crouton, and you have that with your aperitif. And when you have that with your Ricard, it makes the Ricard taste a lot better, and it just kind of opens your appetite. And as it's a little bit kind of salty, and Ricard under the sun tastes very nice, you always have a second Ricard. Then you have a little second toast of tapenade. And as you start to enjoy life, you might have a third Ricard. And then we stop there. So anyway, so here's the tapenade. So it's very simple, and that will store for a long time in the fridge. Okay? And now, what we're going to use is basil leaf. As for me, basil is one of the most beautiful herbs you can have, and very fragrant herbs, obviously. It just brings me sun in your cooking, you know. In the winter, when it's nice and cold outside, you cook a nice dish, you put some basil, and it shines like anything in your kitchen. So I sliced the basil. I think if you chop it to the food processor, you will break down all the oils of the basil, and then you end up with, you lose all the fragrance. It's always best to just slice it up just before you're going to use it in your cooking. Okay? And voila, it's cutted the basil. Okay. So I don't use the stalk. If I make pesto, then again I won't use the stalk. I only use the leaves. And I think that sometimes the basil stalks can be quite chewy. So okay, so we get to cook it for bring some heat. Now. Okay, we're going to cook it for just a couple of seconds more. And now we're going to dress our dish. Okay, so plate, little spoon, oh, and as well, don't forget the tomatoes. I told you, no, you're not listening, are you? I said onions, garlic, peppers, tomatoes, and nobody said, you forgot the tomatoes. Well, yeah, you put them just before you put the basil, so you keep the tomatoes a bit firm, so you don't mash, you don't overcook it, so it doesn't get mushy. So now a little stir, and this is just the fragrance. The smell is absolutely fantastic. So when you finish, then you can come and have a look and have a smell, and if there are any left, then you can have a little test. So the rice is very simple. Voilà. A little bit of peppers. Okay. And it's just the colors. It's so vibrant and so colorful. Just to look at it, you want to eat it. That, put that in the middle, like so. Okay. Now we're going to put our fish. And again, as you saw, the fish was cooked very quickly. Okay. Okay, voilà. Tac. We have a little bit of olive oil. Just to make it pretty. Voilà. Now here you got a pan-fried fillet of sea bass with a sweet pepper compote and basil of tapenade croutons. So now I think we've got a bit of time for a little dessert, Guy? Should we do a little pudding?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah,
I wasn't paying attention there, was I, ladies and gentlemen?
It's not listening. I told him before. Listen what I say and do what I say. Don't do what I do.
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
So a little.
Do you need anything? Anyhow?
This today I've got it under control. Yesterday was a nightmare.
It's all going very well for you today, Michel.
So far, so good.
You're just getting it right, and the show's closing. It's a tragedy.
It's always on the last day things get perfect. Practice and perfection. So now what we're going to do is one of my favorite desserts, and that is crème brulée. For me, there is always only one way to make crème brulée, and it's my recipe, and no other recipe can be called crème brulée. So I'm going to show it to you, and hopefully you'll be able to make it at home. And you can look on the website. If you go on the website of here and Bistro La Barrique, I've got a little film of how to make it. It's so simple. So, to start with, let's get rid of this. We get the mixer. And you don't need too many ingredients to make crème brûlée. You just need egg yolks. And for that recipe, I do 10 egg yolks for 2 pints of creams and about 80 grams of sugar. Okay? And that's all. And the way I do it, I only use cream and egg yolks. I don't do whole eggs. I don't do milk and cream. And the way I cook it, which I will show you, is I cook it like a custard. Once it's all mixed, cook like a custard. And then I put it into those molds and cool quickly as possible in the fridge. Very often when people make crème brûlée, they use a mixture of eggs, whole eggs, milk and cream, mix everything together with a flavoring, and then after that they will bake it in the oven in the bain marie. And by doing so, I find that once it's cooked in a bain-marie, the mixture starts to be dense. It's a bit like a flan, like a custard. It's quite dense. The way I do it, if you cook on top of the stove, it gives a nice, airy, and silky texture. So to start, I make egg yolks and sugar together. I whisk it as fast as possible until it's white and fluffy and airy. So it will triple the volumes in no time. Next one, we're going to do vanilla brulée, so you get a good quality vanilla, which we cut the seed out, the pod in out, then we will spread the seeds out, okay, and we put the pod and the seed, okay, and that will flavor your cream. Okay, so what we do, we bring the cream to the bowl, we whisk our yolks, I just want to show you what I mean by white and fluffy. It's just that mixture of eggs and cream become all fluffy. It's kind of like a sabayon, if you prefer. And the sabayon is just an emulsion of egg yolks and, in that case, sugar. Okay, so last one is fluffy. Okay, put them back together. Our cream is just about to boil. Okay. And voila. Now break all the little seeds of vanilla, and once you cook it, you don't strain to get rid of the black little seeds. It's very important you leave it, so that's what will flavor your crème brûlée. So it's always best to do it the day before. That way it gives you time for the crème brûlée to set, and it's better, you need to leave it to set. So always do it the day before. Okay, so now the cream comes up to the bowl. We put on the eggs full whack. Okay. Be careful, obviously not to burn yourself. I did that once, I forgot. I was going to turn it down, I went the other way around, and the whole thing just splashed. It was like having a cream shower. It was not a good experience, I tell you. Voilà, so you mix everything together. Okay. When everything's mixed together. Okay, this is what you got. It's like a very unctuous, would you say unctuous word, English word? They're very unctuous and very creamy and fluffy. And this is the secret of my crème brûlée, is that it's full of air bubble. Okay? Yeah. And now I'm going to cook it like a custard. So that will take 7-8 minutes. Basically, if you got a thermometer, you cook it to about 80 degrees, okay? And you will always have a perfect crème brûlée. So you've got to cook it long enough. And as, if you can see, as the cream is cooking, it's become thicker. Now with this, the danger is that if you overcook it, you end up making scrambled eggs. And that isn't good. So a little tip, if you put it into a liquidizer, you take your mixture, liquidize it, and then put it back in the pot, then you'll be fine. It's just when it goes to scrambled eggs and you don't do that, you put it into the pot, the fat of the cream comes out. Once it's cold, it becomes all buttery and then it becomes all grainy, and it's not a good sign. It's not a good crème brûlée. The idea of the crème brûlée is to have a hairy, creamy, silky texture. Okay, so as you can see, it has become thicker. Okay, and the idea is if you haven't got a thermometer, it's just basically to do the finger trick on the spatula. Okay, just go like this, and as it starts to hold, then it's ready. Okay, voila. Now I pour it into a jug, which makes it easy to pour, and voila. And then you fill up So go with the vanilla. And then you can fill up your ramekins. Okay, so a full recipe will make about 8-9 ramekins of brulée. And as soon as it's done, put it straight into the fridge to cool down. Voilà. And here, please go on area. So when it comes out of the fridge, you have to see if you cooked it properly. It doesn't rot. I don't know. But it doesn't rot. You can hold it. It will be nice and set and inside it. As you cook the cream, the custard on the top, like you cook it like the custard, it's all the air bubbles. If you look, it's all the air bubbles get trapped in the cream. So that's why we make it airy and light. And that's the beauty of the crème brûlée. So now, the blowtorch. That is the best blowtorch you can buy. Don't buy the little one which is the nice and fancy thing and keep that to fill them up all the time. And 30 seconds later they're empty and it's just a nightmare. So the proper job, what do you call it, a plumber's blowtorch is the best. So we have some cassonade. And cassonade is basically demerara sugar. I do think cassonade sounds better than brown sugar. It's a bit more poetic. So the cassonade, comme ça. Voilà. Remove the excess. Okay. Now we're going to burn the cream. The batter, and that's the fun start. It's a new can, so there's lots of pressure. So, basically, just hold it and just gently leave it caramelize. So the beauty of the crème brûlée, say you're having a dinner party, so you make the brûlée the day before, and then you can caramelize the brûlée about 10, 15, 20 minutes before you eat it. So once it's caramelized, put it in the fridge, and the top will go rock solid. And when you break into the brûlée, it just crunch, and then you got those crunchy caramelly bits. Okay? Now with this, for example, you burn it, you leave it for 24 hours, the top will go soft, and all the caramel will sit under the brûlée. Then you can reburn the top again, put some more sugar, reburn the top, okay, and you end up with a caramel crème brûlée, toffee crème brûlée. So that's a way to do it again, so you change the flavors. And if you've got too many of them, and if you've got an ice cream machine, then you leave it again for another 24 hours, so everything becomes soft, and you put it into your ice cream machine, churn it, and then you end up with crème brûlée ice cream. Voilà. So voilà, you got a little crème brûlée here. Yeah. Is there any people who want to ask any questions or anything like that? If you want to know, there's one thing, I was coming, listen, I came into England 34 years ago, and I came in on Friday morning, and I remember walking into the street with my suitcase and my bag, and I remember 34 years ago, walking with my suitcase and my bag in London, not be able to speak English, knowing a little bit of cooking. And 34 years later, how little I knew I would be able to stand there, be able to talk to you in English, to be able to do some nice cooking and to share my passion. So I say thank you very much for coming here, and do enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Michel Lemoine. As ever, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to come forward and have a closer look at what Michel's cooked, ask him any questions, please make yourself welcome. We're going to reset the stage. We've got half an hour wait until the last dance. So have a wander around and come back at 3:15. Thank you.
It's funny, yesterday I had about 60 right like a fan at you, and everybody just jumped. Voilà, c'est ça. Careful, this is hot. It's very hot here, okay? Voilà.
Thank you.
Look at what we do in the
Put in your hand. Take one and put in your hand. One in your hand. Put in your hand.
How do we do it?
Put in your hand. It's in your hand.
Just like that?
No, sorry. I'm not doing it.
I have a fish. Can I try some of the brulée?
Well, I suggest to me.
Excuse me? Sorry,
Oui.
can I try some of your brulée?
Let me try some of the
Celui-là?
Ça vous dérange pas, je crois?
Ah, pas du tout, ça ne me dérange pas. C'est comme vous voulez.
I love brulée.
Comment c'est français
Thank
ça,
you.
crème brûlée?
Thank you.
Bien sûr.
Bon.
Merci.
Pourquoi ça s'appelle ça brûlé?
Parce que ça s'appelle burnt cream, que je caramélisé plus bien. J'ai appris. J'ai fait la cuisine française aussi, pour l'instant. J'ai appris que soit ici, à Londres, en Angleterre, ou en France, en faisant du crème brûlée, ils ont fait un accident. Alors, crème brûlée, alors ils ont laissé comme ça, ils s'appellent ça comme ça. À l'origine, je ne sais pas. Je sais que la brûlée, c'est la burnt cream. L'origine de l'histoire, je ne la connais pas. Et donc, c'est peut-être ça.
J'ai appris ça, c'est pour ça que je voulais poser une question avant.
Ça veut dire brûler, burnt cream. Donc, peut-être l'histoire vient de là. C'est comme un tarte tatin.
Oui.
Un tarte tatin, c'était un accident. Ils ont mis tout ça et après,
Ouais, c'est très bien. Merci.
Ah, super.
Merci.
Voilà. Mademoiselle.
What is the website? Just on the front shop?
Je peux avoir un ticket chez vous? Vous avez un restaurant à Brixton?
À Bath. À Bath, du sud-ouest.
Ok.
Voilà.
Ah, vous n'avez pas eu ça à Londres?
Non, pas encore.
Pas maintenant.
Pas encore, mais ça va venir un jour.
Merci, au revoir.
Bonne chance.